This is a story of a police officer who committed 13 murders, 51 rapes, 51 misdeeds with women, and 120 house robberies, and has become one of the most notorious serial killers in America. Joseph James DeAngelo Jr., a name that had become another name for terror. So let's take a look at this beast life story. Joseph DeAngelo Jr. was born on November 8, 1945 in Bath, New York. His family was from a military background. His father, Joseph James DeAngelo Sr., was a U.S. Army sergeant. Because of this, he had to shift from one place to another. He could never stay in one place properly. Joseph's mother, Kathleen Lewis, was a homemaker. This family had a lot of discipline. Mom and Dad were very strict with Joseph, but there was very little love. Joseph's childhood was very unstable. Because Dad was in the Army, he had to shift from one place to another. Environment change, friends change, school change, because of which Joseph could never be stable. And this constant movement and emotional disconnect between the family had a deep impact on his behavior. Joseph's schooling took place in different places, because his family frequently shifted due to military posting. Because of this, he did not have any long-term friends, and he became lonely and socially awkward. He was a decent kid in school, but he had a dark side in his personality. Sometimes he used to behave aggressively with his friends and classmates. And there was one thing that had developed in his personality. That was cruelty against animals. Well, he was so cruel that he used to torture animals. And this is a trait that is found in children who grow up to become killers. There was such a traumatic incident in Joseph's childhood that he could not get out of his mind for the rest of his life. And it had a very deep and big impact. What happened was that when he was only 9 years old, then a boy from the U.S. Army did bad things to his sister. That too in front of Joseph's eyes. And maybe this thing had a very big and deep impact on Joseph's mind. Joseph was left with the guilt that he could not do anything. He could not save his sister. And because of all these things, some dark sides started developing in Joseph. Some things that completely changed Joseph's thinking. That how power is everything. If you have power, then you can do anything in the world. And if you don't, then anyone can do anything with you in the world. Now, when Joseph grew up, he was in his teenage years when his parents got divorced, which was very emotionally disturbing for him. After the divorce, his mother started a relationship with a new partner, which Joseph did not like at all. In his teenage years, Joseph started showing controlling and manipulative tendencies in his behavior. After high school, Joseph joined the U.S. Navy and participated in the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, he learned the techniques of violence and survival, which was clearly visible in his criminal activities. Well, after learning all this, he became mentally and physically very strong. Moreover, he also learned how to plan and how to execute the planning well. In 1973, Joseph married Sharon Huddle, who was a law student. After marriage, everything was fine between them for a few days, but slowly, Joseph started showing his true colors, which was very abusive. Later, he had 3 daughters. Joseph's wife, Sharon, was very far away from him due to his abusive behavior, and their relationship was not going well at all. After taking the degree of criminal justice, Joseph started his career as a police officer. His job was to investigate robbery cases. From 1973 to 1976, Joseph was an officer in the Exeter Police Department. From 1976 to 1979, he was on duty in the Auburn Police Department. In 1979, after an incident, he was fired from the police department. So the incident was like this. Joseph goes to a hardware store and tries to steal a few things from there, a dog repellent and a hammer. After this, Joseph's police career ends there. And from here, Joseph's criminal career starts. Joseph's criminal activities are divided into several phases. Like in the beginning, he used to forcefully enter people's houses and steal. Then slowly, his criminal activities became more brutal. Now he started misbehaving with girls. And after some time, one step ahead. Now he started killing people. So Joseph's criminal activities were divided into 3 phases. In the early days of his crimes, Joseph was known as Visalia Ransacker. In this phase, he focused on theft and robbery. Joseph used to observe people's houses in secret. His targets were usually such houses where he could easily dominate people. At night, he would enter the house through the back door of the window. He would wear gloves and use tools so that fingerprints wouldn't be left. And he could enter the house without making any noise. After entering the house, he would steal things from there.
But often, he was more interested in taking sentimental and personal items such as jewelry and photos. And after committing crimes, he used to create a ruckus in the house. Now, Joseph used to steal. He used to commit crimes. And he wasn't even caught. So, he thought that it would be difficult to catch him. So, he started committing more brutal crimes. In 1975, Joseph entered a professor's house and tried to kidnap his younger daughter. Professor tried to stop Joseph. And when he tried to stop him, Joseph shot the professor. Because of which, the professor died there. And this was Joseph's first murder. Joseph's primary motive was not to steal, but to psychologically dominate people. And Joseph started enjoying it. His confidence increased when the police were after him. But still, the police couldn't catch him. After 1976, when Joseph shifted to Sacramento and nearby areas, he further advanced his theft tactics in the form of East Area rapist and Golden State Killer. In every case, theft was just an entry point, in which his primary motive was to sexually assault and dominate girls. Joseph's journey had now escalated from small thefts to a murderous crime. From 1976 to 1979, Joseph committed a total of 50 crimes against women, which happened in California's Sacramento and nearby areas. In this phase, he became famous by the name of East Area Rapist. Before attacking his prey, Joseph stalked him for many days. He used to roam around his house. He used to observe him. He used to understand his daily routines. And used to find his weak point. He used to study the locks and windows of the victim's house, so that he could enter without making any noise. At night, he used to enter through the window or sliding door. Sometimes, he used to hide weapons, ropes, and duct tape in the house, so that he could do his work without any problem. Before the attack, he used to cut all the phone lines in the house. It was his signature move, which prevented the victim from calling for help. Now Joseph used to forcefully make his victims lie on the bed. If the victim was married, he used to forcefully control his husband. He used to make his husband sit on the bed and place a stack of plates on it, and used to tell him that if a single plate falls down, he will kill him. When the victim used to get scared of him, Joseph used to enjoy a lot. He used to feel that he is so powerful. He used to make him sit for hours. He used to come in front of him, eat food, roam around and break things, and used to assault him many times, because of which the victim used to get very scared. After completing his work, Joseph used to leave the house. Well, the victims were completely broken at that time. Joseph didn't hit them. He used to leave the house after making them scared and threatening them. When the victims started moving on, Joseph used to call them, and used to threaten them that if they tried to do anything or even thought about it, I will come back, and no one will be able to save you from me. And these calls used to come to the victims after months or years. The first documented rape case of Joseph happened in Sacramento area, where he targeted a 23-year-old girl. He entered the house through the window, tied up the victim and then misbehaved with her. During the attack, he repeatedly threatened the victim that he should stay quiet. Otherwise, it will be worse for him. The second case was Joseph's second victim, a married couple. Joseph's second victim was a married couple. Joseph entered their house. He held his husband at one place and tied him up with a rope. He put duct tape on his face and placed plates on his head, and told him that if even one plate falls, I will shoot you directly. after which he went to his wife and misbehaved with her in front of his husband's eyes. In 1977, Joseph's behavior became more brutal and dangerous. He stalked a girl for a long time. He roamed around her house and kept an eye on her activities. One night, he broke the lock of her house and entered her house. His parents were also present with the girl. Joseph entered the house and tied up the girl's parents and started misbehaving with her daughter in front of their eyes. The girl's parents were tied up, because of which they could neither help nor call anyone. And Joseph did all this with his daughter in front of his parents for many hours. And after that, he left from there. So what did Joseph do till now? In the beginning, he robbed many houses. A total of 120 houses. In the second phase, Joseph started misbehaving with the girls. From 1976 to 1979, he did all this with a total of 51 women. Now he was in his next phase, where he started killing people. So till now, Joseph was given a name in every phase, because of which he was becoming very famous. Well, in the third phase, he is also given a name, Original Night Stalker. And with this name, he becomes very famous in the whole of California. Joseph committed at least 13 murders in California and southern area. Joseph made his victims middle-class families, and then followed their daily routine. And then, seeing the perfect day, he would enter their house through the window or back door. Often, he would torture his wife and husband by tying them in different rooms. And then he would kill them. On the 2nd of February, 1978, Brian McGorry, who was 21 years old. He was a U.S. Air Force surgeon. And his wife, Katie McGorry, who was 20 years old. These two normally took their dog for a walk. Joseph goes to them and, showing his gun, tells them to follow him. After which he takes them to an isolated area. When the couple feels that something is wrong and they are not feeling safe here, they try to run away. And when they try to run away, Joseph shoots them, because of which they both die there. When the police and media comes to know about this murder was completely different from the previous crimes of Joseph. When he used to misbehave with girls, he was made famous by a name, East Area Rapist. Now everyone thinks that this is not East Area Rapist. This is something else, because this is a completely different crime. East Area Rapist used to enter the house, sexually assault people and then leave. But here, there was no sexual assault. Nothing happened. No one entered the house. Just someone was murdered openly. So the police, media and people felt that this is done by a different person. And this is normally a random act of violence. On the 30th of December, 1979, Joseph entered the house of Dr. Robert Offerman and Charlene Smith Manning. He tried to take them under control. Joseph enters their house. He ties Robert again. When Robert was not in his control, he is trying to escape. He is repeatedly telling Joseph that you can't tie me. I will come out and kill you. Joseph gets angry. And at the same time, he shoots Robert and kills him. Now Charlene was alone in the house. He goes to Charlene and sexually assaults her. After that, he brutally kills Charlene. Joseph was involved in many such cases. From 1979 to 1986, he committed 13 murders. This is all documented. No one knows the actual number. What we know so far is that Joseph committed crimes from 1970s to 1980s in different phases. He was not caught. But finally, the police caught him. Do you have any idea when? Well, the police caught Joseph in 2018. Can you imagine? After 32 years of committing crimes, 32 years later, the police finally caught Joseph. Joseph did not leave any physical evidence like fingerprints or weapons after his crimes. Every crime was planned and executed very well. He committed his crimes in different areas, like Sacramento, South California, which took time for the police to realize that it was the work of one person. Due to multiple jurisdictions, coordination was very difficult. Joseph was a former police officer. He adopted the tactics of avoiding the police using his law enforcement knowledge. The police collected DNA samples from Joseph's crime scenes, but they did not have any technology or database to match at that time. Well, in 2001, after the advancement of DNA technology, the police confirmed that East Area **** and the original Night Stalker is the same person who is also known as Golden State *****. In 2018, investigators used an open-source genealogy website GEDmatch. By uploading a sample of crime scene DNA, they tracked distant relatives who were linked to Joseph's family tree. And this genealogy mapping took the police to Joseph. And now the police secretly started collecting Joseph's DNA samples, like the tissue he uses. Now the police test Joseph's DNA and match it with the DNA test found in the crime scene. And the match of these two is perfect. And on April 24, 2018, Joseph was arrested from his home in California, where he was living a retired and comfortable life. Well, at this time, Joseph was 72 years old. In April 2018, after the arrest, Joseph is charged with a total of 13 ****, 50 plus ****, and looting of many houses. Joseph is given 11 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Joseph is now serving his life in California's high-security prison. He does not interact much with any prisoner and he is closely monitored. And Joseph can never come out of jail in his life.